What if everything you experience is an illusion? Motion, change, birth, death, sound, time itself. You trust these things because you experience them every day. You watch clouds move. You grow older. Cities rise and collapse. Stars ignite and then die. But over 2,400 years ago, one philosopher looked at all of human experience and essentially said, "Your senses are lying to you." Not metaphorically, literally. According to him, nothing truly changes. Motion is impossible. Empty space cannot exist. Reality was never born, and thus can never die. And beneath all appearances, existence is one eternal, unchanging whole. His name was Melissus of Samos. The strange moment that happens when philosophy becomes more so dangerous. Not politically dangerous, but existentially dangerous. The moment when philosophy stops explaining the world and starts questioning whether the world you experience is even real in the way that you think it is. This is what happens with the Eleatics. The Greek philosopher Parmenides had already launched the attack. He argued something deceptively simple. What is, what is not, is not. At first, that sounds trivial, but Parmenides realized something terrifying hidden within it. If non-being does not exist, then how can anything ever change? Because change requires something to become what it previously was not. A seed becomes a tree. A child becomes an adult. Fire becomes ash. But every transformation seems to require non-being somewhere in the process. Something new emerges. Something old disappears. And Parmenides thought that was logically impossible. Most philosophers would have softened the argument. Melissus did the opposite. He pushed it further than almost anyone else dared. Unlike most philosophers of the ancient world, Melissus just wasn't a thinker. He was reportedly a military commander from the island of Samos, a man involved in war, politics, and naval strategy, which is what makes his philosophy even stranger, because while most people spend their lives dealing with practical reality, Melissus became convinced practical reality itself was illusion. He argued that genuine reality must possess certain characteristics. It must be eternal, ungenerated, indestructible, indivisible, changeless, infinite. Because if reality began, then before it began, there must have been nothing. But nothing cannot exist, and from nothing, nothing comes. The ancient principle became ex nihilo nihil fit. Nothing comes from nothing. This single idea becomes the foundation of Melissus' entire worldview. If reality cannot emerge from nothing, then reality never began. And if reality could cease to exist, then it would become nothing, which is equally impossible. So reality cannot end either. Existence is eternal, not metaphorically eternal, literally eternal. No beginning, no ending, no creation, no annihilation. Only being. Once you deny non-being, you begin denying almost everything humans normally experience. Think carefully. If something changes, then it becomes something different than what it previously was. But that means what it was ceases to be, and what it will be does not exist yet. Change appears to involve transitions between being and non-being. Melissus rejects this completely. To him, true reality cannot change because change implies imperfection. If reality changes, then either it gains something it lacked or loses something it possessed. But genuine being cannot lack anything. Otherwise, it would not fully be. So reality must remain completely identical to itself forever. Perfectly static, perfectly unified, perfectly motionless. The terrifying implication is this. Everything you experience as change may merely be an appearance, not reality. Then Melissus attacked motion itself. He asks a simple question. If something moves, where does it move? Into empty space. But what is empty space? Nothing. And nothing cannot exist. Therefore, empty space cannot exist. And if there is no empty space, then motion becomes impossible. The argument unfolds like a trap. Motion into void into non-being. But non-being cannot exist. Therefore, motion is impossible. Now, obviously, that sounds absurd. You are moving right now. The earth is moving. Galaxies are moving. Everything appears to move. But the Eleatics believe that senses deceive us, because for the first time reason is elevated above perception completely. The eyes become suspect, logic becomes absolute. And that's the real legacy of Melissus. Not simply bizarre arguments about motion, but the idea that reason may reveal truths fundamentally opposed to experience. That idea echoes through all of Western philosophy. You can see fragments of Melissus in Plato, who distrusted the sensory world, Rene Descartes, who doubted perception itself, rationalist philosophers who believe mathematics and logic reveal deeper reality than the senses ever could. Melissus helped establish one of philosophy's oldest tensions. Should truth come from experience or from reason? That question still defines philosophy to this day. What makes Melissus fascinating is that parts of his philosophy continue to be in modern thought. Take the concept of nothingness. Modern physics struggle with it constantly. Even empty space isn't truly empty. Quantum fields fluctuate. Virtual particles emerge and vanish. Space itself possesses energy. Absolute nothingness may not physically exist, which sounds strangely eclectic. Or consider cosmology. Did the universe begin? Can something emerge from nothing? Was there ever truly nothing at all? These remain open questions. Melissus would have answered confidently, no. Reality simply is. Eternal, uncreated, necessary. Even modern debates about simulation theory, perception, and consciousness echo ancient eclectic skepticism about appearances, because beneath all of them lies the same unsettling possibility. What if reality is not what it seems? The greatest irony is that Melissus might have helped create the philosophies that opposed him. His attacks on motion and plurality forced later thinkers to develop entirely new theories of reality, most importantly, atomism. Philosophers like Leucippus and Democritus accepted part of the Eleatic critique, but instead of denying motion, they proposed atoms moving through the void. In a strange way, atomism is born as a response to Melissus. Without eclectic philosophy, the history of science itself may have unfolded differently. Melissus is rarely remembered alongside the greatest philosophers. He's overshadowed by Parmenides, overshadowed by Plato, definitely overshadowed by Aristotle, and yet his ideas strike at the deepest assumptions humans possess, because he forces us to confront a possibility that reality may not resemble experience at all, that motion may be appearance, that change may be illusion, that birth and death may not touch ultimate reality, and whether or not he was right is almost besides the point. Because once philosophy begins questioning the reliability of perception itself, there's no easy way back. The world stops feeling stable, and the ancient question then returns. Is reality truly what we see, or only what reason can never escape?